Do you hear that? That's the sound of dance music being changed forever. One, two, three, four. It's the heartbeat of American dance music. 4 on the floor, or 1 bass drum on every beat. Linda and I are going to explore how a simple but revolutionary rhythm changed dance music history, from the foundational rhythm of disco to the foreground of modern pop and dance music.
And we're gonna take what we learned to create a new dance track using the classic 4 on the floor groove.
Celebrate the night with me, although it's not the last time.
Our story starts at the end of the disco era of American music. Before there was Panic at the Disco, there was Panic aimed at disco. In July 1979, a crowd of thousands packed the White Sox Stadium to burn and destroy disco records, the culmination of years of anti-disco sentiment. Even though some claim that disco died that day, disco's iconic 4 on the floor rhythm survived its supposed demolition, living on in everything post-disco from electronic dance music to pop. But to understand disco's influence, we need to rewind to before 4 on the floor. In post-World War II America, there was a new kind of arms race. Who's the best at drumming up the dance floor? Ballroom band leaders like Perez Prado, Duke Ellington, and others competed to see who could create the latest dance craze by making music filled to the brim with complex drum rhythms.
Then in the 50s, a new generation of rock and rollers like Chuck Berry and Little Richard chased a different direction. They moved the drummer up front and have them come up with a much simpler, much louder, and catchier rhythm, the 4 to the floor. On songs like Little Richard's Long Tall Sally, you can hear the bass drum on every beat of the music. It's swing combined with rock's aggressive rhythmic pattern. Meanwhile, funk pioneers like James Brown stressed the 1, having a heavy emphasis on the first beat of each measure. That not only helped funk become such a danceable genre, but it foreshadowed the emphasis that would come with the 4 on the floor beat we know today.
Hot bands.
Then came Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes' Love I Lost. This song set our march to the start of a new and definitive movement. It was the 70s, and drummer Earl Young needed a new sound. Through the 50s, rock and roll had come to be defined by a simple, steady drum rhythm called 4 to the floor, and funk pioneers like James Brown emphasized the 1. Earl was working on a new song with the Philadelphia band Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and needed a new rhythm to stand out from the rest.
Earl created his beat by adding a kick every 4 beats or quarter notes of a measure, creating his distinctive 4 on the floor pattern and carving a place for Philadelphia soul music. When Earl added the snare to the backbeat and added those 8th note hi-hats to create the groove, more music history was made.
I can remember hoping.
It was Earl's beat that arguably birthed disco and gave it platform shoes to rise above the musical crowd with its distinctive 4 on the floor rhythm. You can hear this disco recipe in songs like George McRae's Rock Your Baby. In the early days of disco, producers like Tom Moulton and Walter Gibbons played a key role. They remixed tracks like BT Express's Do It Till You're Satisfied, extending dance tracks by splicing and rearranging audio tapes. This early remixing tradition helped disco spread and popularized it as its own musical style. Nevertheless, disco remained a growing but niche scene.
That all changed in 1977 with Saturday Night Fever. All it took was a young John Travolta walking north on 20th Avenue from 86th Street in Brooklyn to turn what was a bubbling disco scene into a roaring one, fed by that 4 on the floor rhythm. As disco grew in popularity, other genres started to pick up the beat. the iconic krautrock band Can traded in their hypnotic eighth-note motoric rhythm for the more danceable four-on-the-floor beats of disco. Other groups like the Eagles, the Rolling Stones, and even Rod Stewart, who were once disco curious, became disco influenced. In the late 70s, as disco started to fade in America, Europe's love for its iconic beats soared, especially with electronic instruments. David Bowie once recounted how legendary producer Brian Eno introduced him to Donna Summer's I Feel Love, calling it the sound of the future. This single, created by Giorgio Moroder, blending human touch with solid-state electronics, would change club music for years to come.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's the sound of the evolutionary four-on-the-floor pattern being reborn through newer, faster technology. By the late 70s, huge analog synthesizers were replaced by smaller keyboards and groove boxes, which played a part in the creation of post-disco. This era saw the rise of a DIY spirit in dance music. In Chicago, artists like Jesse Saunders and Frankie Knuckles, inspired by early synth-pop pioneers, started using electronic instruments to make their own versions of the four-on-the-floor beat. Now, instead of having a whole band play backup, these artists could create entire songs using only electronic gear. Drum machines made it easy to plug the four-on-the-floor beat into a 16-step sequencer like on the Roland TR-909. A kick drum could land on 1, 5, 9, and 13, the snare fit on the 5 and 13, and the hi-hats filled in eighth notes in between. It was these electronic instruments that helped four-on-the-floor become synonymous with electronic dance music. Disco might have been dead in the eyes of its critics, but in the hands of cutting-edge musicians and producers, it would live on forever in rhythm machines.
Today, modern samplers and DAWs, or digital audio workstations, have made it easier for nearly anyone with an idea, or who read the manual, to take a stab at cutting their own dance track. After digging into the history of four-on-the-floor, Jojo and I have been eager to try making a dance track of our own.
So for the pattern, we just need the 4 kicks, and then we need a snare, and then we just need the hi-hats.
Nice.
Yeah, disco.
Four-on-the-floor didn't just stop at disco and house, but stretched to other genres as dance music continued to evolve.
But these are the breaks. Break it up, break it up, break it up, break down.
In Detroit during the 1980s, producers like the Belleville 3 used drum machines to create their own four-on-the-floor beats, giving birth to techno music. In the 90s, new dance genres were born that changed how musicians interfaced with this rhythm. Trance music ramped up the tempo of electronic dance music and added the crescendos of classical music to create a hypnotic take on four-on-the-floor. As the 2000s began, different types of modern dance music joined together under EDM or IDM, electronic or intelligent dance music. The four-on-the-floor pattern could still be heard within the modern synth-heavy electro dance tracks being created. All of this started with disco, and though it took a detour, it somehow found its way back with the rise and influence of new disco on modern pop music. New disco was born out of the 90s through a combination of the newer house sound with the traditional disco flair. And though new disco's popularity has risen and fallen throughout the decades, its influence can still be heard in modern pop songs from artists like Lady Gaga, Dua Lipa, and Pharrell. However, the truest, strongest signal of disco's pumpin' four-on-the-floor heartbeat can be found in its biggest cosign, Beyonce's Renaissance Act 1. At the end of Queen Bee's panoramic love letter to black dance music and culture was her Summer Renaissance, a synth-heavy, neo-disco track co-produced with Mike Dean that pointed at its past, present, and future. Now, let's see if we can inspire you to explore further by sharing just what we can make with four-on-the-floor.
Do you want a vocal sample?
Yeah. We need to do like something addictive.
Okay, so here's like soul.
Celebrate this night with me.
This is a good option.
You like this?
Yeah.
I want to work for you tonight.
Nice.
You think it comes in too soon?
Yeah.
Although it's not that.
Yeah.
Before you go, I want to tell you about Disco, Soundtrack of a Revolution, a new PBS docuseries that captures the story of disco, its rise, fall, and legacy. It explores how disco took over the world while speaking to some of the biggest issues of today, LGBTQ+ identity and female empowerment. Check out the link in the description below and let them know that Soundfield sent you.